I'm sorry, this isn't about the Down the Rabbit Hole streams or the John and Howard thing. I'm in a bit of a mood and I need a moan. So let's talk about DSP and groupthink. In fact, I need to change this. So while I do this and sort of do my hair, because I'm fresh out of the shower and it needs a brush, why don't you have every time DSP has said groupthink according to Pig Pig Go? Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that.
Spaghetti Pet says, of all the detractor memes, the one I'll never understand is you're wondering about your left. You do not left like ack, ack, ack. I agree. I don't understand where that one came from, besides they're just fucking... That just proves... What's it called? Groupthink or whatever is powerful. Because you're right. Never have I ever laughed where it sounded like ack, ack, ack. I mean, I have a weird laugh, I'll admit that. But it doesn't sound like that. But they all repeat it because it's this parroting group of mind thing. Oh, just repeat what people say online as fact instead of actually seeing what it actually has any truth to it, which it doesn't. You know, if I want to talk about, oh, what did my wife and I do today? How's my cat doing? What do we eat for dinner? That's one thing. But it's going to be very hard for me to talk about other stuff behind the scenes because it seems like everything that I do is turned into something negative against me, even though that's not true. That people will just literally speculate constantly into things that are not true to create this weird negative group think that it's true when it's not. You know, it's funny because I've been the last few days criticizing. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily criticism, just more being observational about Keemstar and the things that people have been saying about Keemstar, that he hypothesizes things about people without a piece of 100% factual evidence. He has a lot of rumors, theories, maybe circumstantial evidence, but 9 times out of 10 when he would report something, he doesn't actually have real evidence of it. He just rolls with the story for personal benefit, and then later on, if it comes out as fake, then he'll, oh, I correct myself. I'm sorry, I was wrong. But what about the damage you caused, right? To get yourself over with the newest piece of news that's not really news, it's just drama. Like, that's Kiwi Farms in a nutshell, is take misinformation, take speculation, take rumor, take circumstantial evidence, and present it as fact to create this weird groupthink mentality or a case that this is real, even when there's not a shred of evidence of any of it. Okay? When I think about that, I think about why is there a group of people in our country who actually think that African Americans are to be feared and treated differently, and why is it that African Americans have to walk the streets in fear that if a cop pulls them over at any moment they could be beaten, or they could be arrested unfairly, treated unfairly, or in the case of George Floyd, absolutely murdered for no reason, right? I think it's because of these fucking stupid shit that we say. It's because we're irresponsible. It's because we're dumb, and we think that life's a joke, and that we could just pass around these really hurtful stereotypes about race, about other things too, you know, gender and things. You know, you don't understand when you're saying it, but then it becomes this kind of groupthink mentality that becomes almost fact. You know what I mean? Back then, it was a different time where everyone thought that, you know, that stuff was okay. No one took offense. And now you look and you're like, it's not just about people taking offense. It's about being responsible. It's about actually realizing that what you say and do has consequences. People can take you at a face value rather than being smart enough or mature enough to know you're joking, you know? And that's a problem because that can create a groupthink mentality that's completely incorrect and is incredibly harmful to people. And that's what I changed over the years. You know what I mean? First of all, I 100% agree that rape is not something to be joked about. And back then, 10 years ago, I was super immature about it because I came from the fighting game community. All right? And the fighting game community, I hate to say, back then was pretty immature too. All right? I'm not kidding. This is the truth. In the fighting game community, at least from when I was a part of it, from the late 90s through the 2000s, all right? Actually using the term rape, you got raped, all right, in the fighting game community, actually meant you just got destroyed in a match. You basically got utterly destroyed. Maybe you got double perfected, or you know, you got destroyed. The giant combo completely wrecked your whole team. You wouldn't say, "Oh, you got wrecked." Oh, you know, you got wiped. You say you got raped. People would actually say that as an acceptable term in the fighting game community. It's not. Now I understand that because in the last 10 years, I've become a much more mature and wise individual. I've educated myself on the subject. I know how insanely messed up it is to reference a horrendous life experience like being raped as a joke. It's not a joke in any way, shape, or form, and should never be referenced like that. But I was immature and I didn't know that. I was in a groupthink mentality of the fighting game community that always used that term as a casual term in dialect to the point where I was throwing it around left and right as if it meant nothing. Maybe there's people out there who are part of a community of people who are very, very antisocial people who don't have big, productive, vibrant, positive lives of their own. Instead, they look for an online community of people like themselves to latch onto and have a groupthink kind of a feeling so that they feel that there's some kind of worth or value to the things that they say. When you say something negative about someone and 10 other people corroborate it, all of a sudden you feel like you're not alone and you have some kind of a value, right? And sadly, I hate to say it, that's pretty much what's happened with a lot of these people. Oh, that's what I mean. Like, I think it's so phony. These content creators who have to have this ridiculous name for the people who watch their content. Oh, it's the Bro Fist Army. It's the fucking Angry Army. It's the fucking Champions Club. Like, how about you're my viewers? You guys like my personality, my content, you're normal people. You don't have to be grouped in with some weird groupthink mentality to feel like you have some kind of a fucking value in your life. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel it's so disingenuous. It's just not genuine to me. Elon just curious said, how am I aware when there's a new detractor meme? It seems random what they come up with. I usually don't. I don't pay any attention to it. Usually it's you guys coming in here and telling me about it. Or if I notice someone in the stream chat or a bunch of people in the stream chat are all saying something that makes absolutely no sense together, you know it's probably a groupthink mentality about some new shit that some idiot made up. So, someone named Phil helped me $1 and says, PewDiePie got a $10,000 tip on his stream today. It's crazy. You do realize he probably gets, like, that kind of contribution, like, every single fucking stream, right? That guy, you know, exponential growth for how many years? Even if he's completely stagnated, people are just going to drop money in his lap for absolutely no reason. It just seems like that. Once you're at the very top of the YouTube world, or you're the very top of a streaming world, like, you're just there, you know? 1 million people will watch just because you're popular, not because you're putting out anything fun or entertaining, just because you're known to be popular. That's just this weird groupthink mentality, man. But this is what people do, is they take this one little example out of this giant body of stuff that I've done. How many videos, how many years of work? Oh, but here's one tiny example of something that's controversial or contradictory to what you're saying right now, so it just completely does away with anything that you're saying right now. You're in the wrong. And it's like people go out of their way to try to make me look like I'm wrong constantly, even though it's them who's stupid, but they have this crazy groupthink mentality that Phil's always wrong, Phil only does crappy stuff, Phil doesn't put effort into his work, Phil's this, Phil's that. It's all these negative associations with me, right? That are these groupthink thoughts that just because you say, oh, see, he said something negative about Phil, it's true, haha. See that? Like, but no, I just disproved it.
So much for my dream of being a hockey star.
Marianne thought sports were too aggressive, too competitive, and too groupthinky.
Too groupthinky? What the fuck? Working together as a team? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. You must always be an individual. 95% of the things that people say about me are complete bullshit. The other 5% are based on a nugget of truth that's completely either, you know, told incorrectly or twisted in a way to make me look bad when it's not even the truth at all. It's either a gross over-exaggeration, you know what I mean, or it's taken out of context. And that's why people dislike me. It's not because they don't like my content. It's not because I'm a horrible person. It's because they've heard stuff that's not true, because there's this groupthink mentality to that hating on Phil is a cool thing, and we have a group of friends online that all hate on Phil, so let's keep doing it. It's like a fucking pastime on the internet, right? It's become this thing, this meme to hate on Phil. Don't listen to any of the stupidity of the dunces who are out there literally on a daily basis spinning stuff to claim. I'm sure today or yesterday or whenever they made a bunch of videos about it. Oh my God, the foreclosure saga. Ooh, Phil's life is ending. Ooh. And it's all bullshit. Just clickbait to get dumb people like you, who you know, people who they think are gullible, to watch their garbage content. It's all trash. It's all trash. Everything they've ever said about the whole thing this year was trash. Because isn't it funny how they made all that shit up? Yeah, I was granted bankruptcy because they made it up. But people, they create these crazy groupthink mentalities. They all think that if they parrot each other and repeat each other's nonsense and farcical shit, that it'll become fact. But it doesn't. It's still fake. I want to ask this question before I forgot. Why do people say your laugh sounds like ack, ack, ack? That's ludicrous. These idiots groupthinking is a detriment to society. I don't know. I don't think my laugh has ever sounded like that. Admittedly, when when I laugh hard, it's funny sounding. It's not a normal laugh like a lot of people. I know that. People like my laugh because it's silly and unique. But I never sounded like that. It's like, you're right. It's a groupthink mentality. One fucking idiot said it sounded like that. So everyone else followed suit, even though it doesn't sound anything like that. It's like they actually brainwashed themselves into believing that's what my laugh sounded like when it never did. Because they're fucking just morons. You know? It became more mainstream, more people got into it, and now once it becomes oversaturated, once there's so many people doing something, now the shitheads come in and realize now it's time for us to get away with being toxic, right? So now, wow, we can create a groupthink mentality of basically cultists who just shit on content creators constantly. If you don't believe me, there's entire websites to this shit. We have an industry in the games industry, games journalism, where we have an entire group of people who are supposed to be respectable, and they're not. They're being dishonest. They're not doing due diligence in their reviews. They're not even revealing the methods they're using to play these games and review them. They're just pumping out a number score. And it becomes this groupthink mentality to believe that's the game. And don't believe anything else. That's the number score, man. So here you go. Divinity. Jeffrey B says, how about these? Divinity. I already explained that. Morrowind. Morrowind had nothing to do with revenue. Again, there were people who were supporting it. I was bored with it. After playing Morrowind for, what was it, like 4 or 5 months as a chill stream, I really wasn't having fun with it anymore. I felt like I had done everything. I'd figured out the commerce system. I figured out how the magic worked. I was floating infinitely in the air. The story sucked. The story was boring. And I stopped playing it because of that. I wanted to do other stuff. Had nothing to do with the amount of support. Zelda? What the hell does that have to do with support? People were supporting the Zelda streams, but people were dying to see Game Pass stuff. They didn't want to see me play another remake. So I stopped playing Zelda to do what people wanted. It has nothing to do with the level of support. Mario Golf, I don't know what you mean. I played the entire campaign, and I played online play. So you don't have a leg to stand on. You literally have absolutely nothing to talk about. You have no justification for stuff like that, saying stuff like that. It's just people are full of shit. They will spin a false narrative to prove their own just erroneous points. And then they all spread it around as fact rather than actually looking at the big picture. And the big picture is this never really happens. It doesn't. It's a rarity when anything like that would ever happen, but this is what an idiot does. They fucking stir themselves into this fucking groupthink mentality. It's true, it's true, it's true. And then they don't listen to fact or reason. They just look at the completely skewed scenarios and think that that's the truth of the matter when it's not. There's complete bullshit. They're full of shit, man. The people who do this shit have no life. They are pathetic because you don't hyper-focus on something like that unless you're pathetic. If you have better things to do, you do them. You know what I'm saying? The problem is these people they don't have anything in their life that's positive to occupy their time. So they focus on this crazy shit on the internet and more people who think just like them. And now you get to that cultish groupthink mentality of bullshit. That's why there's entire websites like this. Whoa, what is this? This is the true identity of Kazuto Jumonji. Huh? I'm not sure I understand. All the works of Kazuto Jumonji are written by 10 of us. Oh, they're a groupthink initiative. I've heard of this before. That basically a company or like something creative is actually a group of people working together, but they act like they're only one person And it's done for different reasons. I've heard for legal reasons sometimes it can be done, and I've heard sometimes that people think that they can actually get more notability or more business if someone thinks it's just one person working on something, when in reality it's pretty impossible that one person could be doing something. I've heard about this before. I'm pretty sure they call it a group. Is it a group think? There's a thought sync. There's a name for this. That it's a group of people working together pretending to be one, but I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure someone will look it up on the internet now. That's what it's called, the think tank. That's what it's called. Yeah, Kevin Bernstein actually tipped me, and people will say that's only iced coffee. People will say that Rob on Wheels is really only iced coffee. 1 Minute Man is only iced coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, Tarantula just tipped me $10. They'll say that's only iced coffee. Why? Because they're fucking stupid. There's no other explanation. They have this crazy, obsessive, compulsive, weird groupthink mentality that everything that they say is true just because they all say it. They all drink the Kool-Aid, and they're that dumb. They've actually whipped themselves into a fervor, okay, about this guy, all right? And it sucks because I don't want to deal with it. Like, every tournament I was going to for Super Turbo, whether it was Arcade Edition, Console Edition, whatever it was, I was placing and winning and consistently doing well all the way through the end of my competitive career, which ended around mid to late 2007. So it started around 2004, 2005, and for like 2-3 years straight, I was one of the top Super Turbo players in the country, no matter where I played or what I played on. But they don't want to talk about any of that because, again, this is their narrative. This is their echo chamber. Phil sucks at Street Fighter. Phil sucks at Street Fighter. They just repeat it in a big group think, yelling and screaming till they believe it. The vaccine makes you grow eyeballs on your dick. And they believe it because they're stupid, because they repeat it ad nauseum until the group just believes it as fact. Listen, I really wish that people could understand that if you would stop with that, if you just took a step back and said, I'm going to give it a rest for a while, instead of being a complete nasty negative person to someone on the internet, I'm going to give it a rest. I'm going to walk away from it, right? And you go focus on things that are better. You can actually turn your life around. I did. You know? I did. I literally did. And I wish that my messages could get through to certain people, but I know that sometimes it will never will, because there's people who are so ingrained in this groupthink mentality of hate, hate, hate. Like I said, it really is a hate focus group. People who came together to just talk about how much they hate something, right? Which is no way to go through life. So it's just crazy. Oh, well, you took crowdfunding to buy Pokemon. Incorrect. That didn't happen. And you only played it 3 sessions. Incorrect. I played it 5 sessions. We're actually over 12 hours into the game. And now you're dropping it. Incorrect. I'm not dropping the game. This is hilarious, because this is what happens, is that people say stuff and they have no concept of what they're talking about, because they went to some other channel, someone who takes stuff that I say out of context, or stuff that basically is blatantly a lie, and they state it as fact. And then they all state it as fact. It's not one person. They have this groupthink mentality. If we all just say the same thing over and over, it becomes a fact. So on Sunday night, here's what happened with Pokemon, to summarize for everyone. Because the truth of the matter is, if you were out to just expose someone doing something wrong, you wouldn't monetize it. You would just do the right thing. But instead, you're monetizing every piece of it. You're accepting all these contributions and donations. That's why you're doing it. You're a fucking dishonest piece of shit. Let's be honest here. How many of my major detractors out there are not benefiting from it in some way? Are you out of your mind? They're doing it for a reason. And again, they are taking advantage of a large group of people on the internet that have banded together, finding a sense of belonging, a sense of the same mindset. You know, when people think the same way, they tend to group together. So if everyone has this weird groupthink mentality that I'm bad, right? I agree with the ack thing. Like, I guess that's a detractor running meme, is that they say I sound like ack. I don't think I do. I definitely have a unique voice, or excuse me, a unique laugh, but it's not ack sounding at all. That's just idiocy. And what it is it's that groupthink mentality that if enough of them repeat something, they recognize the meme, and then it becomes something that they repeat regardless of the fact that it's not true. It's cultish thinking to repeat something on end, okay? No, just seriously, like, I think what it is there's this weird groupthink mentality, particularly on the internet, where if enough people repeat something as a meme, that meme becomes a recognizable thing, okay? And because it's a recognizable thing, people kind of repeat it to say, aha, I know that meme, even if the meme isn't true. It's definitely not ack. I've said this over the years. I said absolutely not. It's nowhere. It doesn't sound like that at all. So it just became a meme because these idiots, as I said, here's the deal with memes, okay? When a meme is basically something that a group of people recognize as something in common. Oh, I got that reference, right? So because they got the reference, all of a sudden they feel like they're part of a bigger meaning thing, and they actually feel like they're at home, or, oh, I'm part of a crowd. I'm in the in crowd now because I get it. You see? People have actually accepted that meme about ack is truthful, even though it's not. My laugh sounds nothing like that at all. They're just stupid. Anyone who says that is actually just dumb as shit. There's no factual basis behind it. They have this weird groupthink mentality that it's true when it's not, so they just keep propagating the lie. They're just dumbasses. You want to talk about the things in the past that really happened, right? Things in my past that I've never addressed. The original This Is How You Don't Play videos, my history with John Rambo and Howard, the original video covering my early history as a YouTuber all the way up through 2017, all the mistakes I made. That's all factual shit that happened, and you can say, here it is in black and white, and now, you know, I can address that stuff. But if you start talking about the shit from the last, like, 5 years, like, literally, the stuff from 5 years, the last 5 years is bullshit. It's all bullshit. Take a snippet of truth from here and completely extrapolate upon it with complete fucking nonsense and speculation and fabrication and say it's real, and everyone just says it ad nauseum on the internet till everyone believes it's real through this weird cultish groupthink mentality. Why the fuck would I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole? In the case of the Down the Rabbit Hole video, there was a lot of missing information or misinformation. Case in point, the whole video opens up with my history in Street Fighter and says a bunch of stuff about me that a lot of people like to say is common knowledge, when in reality, it's common shit talking. Back in the day, people hated me in the Street Fighter community because I was an outspoken dude and I was a shit talker. So they would say these things that weren't true. And the funny part is, the supposed evidence used in the video to say I was like that isn't evidence at all. The video uses evidence is from 2009, 2010. That's after my days as a competitive Street Fighter player. It doesn't even make sense using something as an example that's much later on than when I was in the competitive community. So, that's what I mean. That's just one example, okay? Where when you have a bunch of things that are commonly just said on the internet about someone, sometimes it just becomes a groupthink mentality where they just believe it's true when it's not. And then oh, well, look, here's the justification. Oh, well, everyone's seen the evidence. It must be true. That wasn't even evidence. It wasn't even the same thing that was happening.
Right, before we go any further, we need to define groupthink, because you need to know what it is to know how Phil's wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean conformity like he thinks it means. It means something else. So let's get a few definitions. Ising, Fundamentals of Psychology. Michael, not Hans. That'll mean something if you know about psychology. If you don't worry about it. It's fine. Groupthink, an excess focus on consensus that typically produces poor group decisions. Factors such as a strong leader and pressures towards conformity increase the likelihood of groupthink. Foundations of Psychology by Hayes. Janis analysed a number of American foreign policy decisions which had been made between 1940 and 1970 and showed that very often decisions had been taken which were unrealistic and sometimes even disastrous when they were put into practice. This had occurred because of the process of groupthink, in which a group considers only a limited number of options and doesn't really look at the wider context of its decisions. Social Psychology by Hogg and Vaughan. This is actually one of the better psychology textbooks that you get recommended during your psychology course. Janis coined the term groupthink to describe the group decision-making process that produced poor decisions. Groupthink was defined as a mode of thinking in which the desire to reach unanimous agreement overrides the motivation to adopt proper rational decision-making procedures. The Oxford Dictionary of Psychology by Coleman. Groupthink, a collective pattern of defensive avoidance characteristic of group decision-making in organisations in which group members develop rationalisations supporting shared illusions of their own infallibility and invulnerability within the organisation. The US psychologist Irving Lester Janis, 1918 to 1990, pretty good innings, who introduced the term in his book Victims of Groupthink, 1972, listed 8 characteristic features. An illusion of invulnerability, collective efforts to rationalise in order to discount warnings, an unquestioned belief in the group's inherent morality, stereotyped views of rivals and enemies, direct pressure on any member who dissents from the consensus view, self-censorship of disagreements with the apparent group consensus, a shared illusion of unanimity, and the emergence of self-appointed protectors of the group from adverse information that might undermine the existing complacency. Janis himself describes it as a mode of thinking that people engage in when they are deeply involved in a cohesive in-group, when the members striving for unanimity override their motivation to realistically appraise alternative courses of action. That's how Janis defines it. That is not how DSP defines it. As we have seen from the context of those previous clips, DSP seems to think it means some sort of conformity of belief, some sort of unanimity in that way. But it's not, because detractors don't have unanimity of belief beyond DSP is a shit, you know. Anything beyond that. There were people arguing that that woman in that picture wasn't Kat. There was no sort of like pressure from a leader put on them to conform to the idea that it is Kat. We just talked about it for a bit and pointed stuff out like, you know, that's what having no makeup and a bad haircut and a poor diet and lack of exercise does to you over 3 years, you know. So there's no real pressure there. There's no sense of conformity in detractor circles. People argue about, you know, stuff like whether Panda Lee's cool or not. You know, whether she's still just as annoying as she was, and the fact that she was annoying previously sort of overrides the fact that she's okay now because she's gotten out. Or there's people who think that it's cool that she's gotten out and she should be doing better now, and we're happy that she is because she sort of matured, and back then when she was being immature and annoying, she was young and being pushed into a situation where Phil was like, we can make money, just appear on this video, just like watch me fans then. You don't have to appear on the video, just like watch me chat. So there's not unanimity in detractors will talk back and forth about all sorts of stuff. There are some detractors who will talk about Derek and others that won't, and ideally nobody should. But again, the fact that there's a Derek Watch Twitter is just, sorry, it's on my mind because I went out for a smoke before and another porn star has died and Derek's tweeted about it and like tagged all these porn stars in it, and they're all like, for fuck's sake, Derek, please stop. You know, this is like really, really bad of you. Please fucking stop this. So yeah, anyway, yeah. Groupthink. It's not what DSP thinks it is. It can't be, because he thinks it's some sort of consensus. It's some sort of conformity. But it's like the pressure behind that is groupthink. The fact that you're not allowed to question other things is groupthink. The fact that, you know, the group's unanimity must be preserved at all costs is not how detractors work. That's the groupthink. That's groupthink happening right there. When, you know, I don't even know why I'm keeping this charade up anymore. Him and his chat are perfect fucking examples of groupthink. They are perfect fucking examples. Let's have a look at that definition from the dictionary again. Probably should have put the bookmark back in. I should have just like cut it. It's alright, I found it now. It's good. An illusion of invulnerability.
So how do I keep the positive mindset? It's this simple. I'm still here after 14 years. I still have fans who love what I do, right? And support who I am as a person and a content creator. And as long as that keeps going, why the hell do I care about everything else? I don't. The positive mindset I have is when every day I come here and someone says to me, Phil, what you did today put a smile on my face. What you did today had meaning to me. I really love the conversation we had. I love the gameplay you did today. You know, that's what I love. That's all I care about. I don't give two fucks about what they're saying. Why would I ever care about what they have to say? They're no ones to me. They're dead to me. They're just fucking no-life idiots who feel like they get euphoric when they hate on someone. That's the worst mindset to have in life, and I'm never going to care about that ever again, really. You know, and it sucks because it can be harmful. I run a business. It can be harmful to the business when they do shit like that. But I realize that fighting against it is completely worthless. It doesn't do anyone any good, and the goalpost gets moved, and all it does is stops me from making more positive content. So I'm not going to deal with it. Just say, fuck them. Just keep going, man. Okay?
Collective efforts to rationalize in order to discount warnings.
And I'm not going to name names because there are a few people who seem to be in this group, but there's people who are like, it's Chicken Little. You ever read the story of Chicken Little? It was the chicken who got hit in the head with an apple, and then the sky is falling. Oh my God, everyone, the sky is falling. Everything's ending. It's all falling apart at the seams. This is the end of everything. The sky is falling. It's, you know, the heavens are coming down on us. It's the apocalypse, right? And that's not the case. Just being honest with you guys, that's definitely not the case at all.
An unquestioned belief in the group's inherent morality.
What's hilarious is everyone basically saying things like, oh, I can't take this, feels wrong. But can you disprove that 10 out of 10 means 100%? Could you disprove that people don't take those number scores to make aggregate scores that are not correct because they're not scaled? They're not. You know, even their own companies don't scale them right. IGN will say one game's at 10, one game's at 8, one game's at 2. And then you'll read the reviews. It's like the number you gave it doesn't even make sense to what you said in the review. So how can you even argue that numbers make sense and should be used when even if the own company can't fucking have an editor that scales them right so it makes sense? You know what I'm saying? I'm not... Gojira says, oh, Phil's on his moral high ground right now. Moral? This has nothing to do with moral high ground. It's math. It's fucking scientific. It's black and white. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Is that it's actually not about emotion right now. It's about fact. It's about actual hard facts that 100% cannot be said is not a whole. It's a whole. Completion. No, see, I'm not clueless about how the industry works. I don't like how it works. There's a difference between Phil just doesn't get it or Phil doesn't like it. I don't like it. I hate this.
Stereotype views of rivals and enemies.
Weird negative groupthink. Weird groupthink mentality. A groupthink kind of a feeling. The groupthink mentality. Morning. This weird groupthink mentality, man. This crazy groupthink mentality. Groupthink thoughts. There's this groupthink mentality. Crazy groupthink mentality. It's a groupthink mentality. A groupthink mentality. This fucking groupthink mentality. That cultish groupthink mentality. This crazy, obsessive, compulsive, weird groupthink mentality. A big groupthink yelling and screaming. This groupthink mentality. This groupthink mentality. This weird groupthink mentality. It's that groupthink mentality. This weird groupthink mentality. This weird cultish groupthink mentality.
Direct pressure on any member who dissents from the consensus view. You have to fucking apologise to him publicly. You can send him an email in private if you want, but ideally you should be apologising to him with a tip.
Oh, Only Ice Coffee is here, and he says, would you accept a public apology from me on stream? Yes, I would. Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, I would accept one. First and foremost, sorry for hurting you, your business, and your fans with my actions. I did not understand the gravity of my actions, and I'm trying to clear the air. Okay. I know my presence here on the stream can get people riled up, so I won't be typing much now. I don't mean to derail. Fair enough. The thing is, Only Ice Coffee, literally, you've never done anything to warrant getting yourself banned from a stream. Only Ice Coffee responds in a way that I completely disagree with. I don't think he should have done this. Okay? He basically says, well, I'm looking into this Kevin guy because I don't know who he is or why he's doing this. But I know for a fact that he lives in this state, and from the things that he's basically said in the stream chat, he takes a bus to work and stuff like that. And that's definitely not me, obviously. So I'm trying to figure out who this guy is and why he's doing this. Essentially, that's what he said. Now, when you say something like that on a stream publicly, that's creepy. I'll tell you why I think he said that. Because he wanted to scare Kevin. Because he's pissed off. Because Kevin has been saying outright in my chat, I am Only Ice Coffee, impersonating him. So he thought, oh, if I kind of like flex my internet muscles, I bully him a little bit and say, oh, look, I'm looking into you. All this information I found out that was public. By the way, all this information is public. This is not a doxing or anything. I don't agree with this tactic at all, but it's not doxing. So Carl, how about this? How about you stay outside the chat for the rest of today's stream? You cool down. You realize what you did was stupid as hell. And if you'd like to come back, you can send me your YouTube channel and I can try to unban you later. How about that? How about we stop with the fucking derailing of my streams with your stupid personal kitty club snow bullshit? How about that? I think that sounds like a good idea for the rest of the stream. All right. Snow Carlos to the $1.50 says, I want to apologize for the joke I made yesterday. I thought about it. You're right. Some jokes can concretely cause hurt. I'm an example that you're not an unfair guy who bans and kicks people for nothing. Mango, shut the fuck up. Thanks. Okay. Congratulations to all of you on getting those gifted memberships. I hope you enjoy them. Thank you to Mango for supporting the channel. Now, please stop saying ridiculous things on my channel to upset me. Cheerio Eater, thanks for the tip, but the message is not appreciated. You're being a dick. Cheerio Eater, I accept your apology. Now, please don't do that. I'm really annoyed tonight. If you can't tell, I'm incredibly annoyed because of what's going on with these fake tips, and I'm trying to finish this game. I'm very frustrated. Tonight is not the night to be messing around. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Sambuca tipped me $20 saying, sorry about football talk. I grew up in Cincinnati. It's exciting to see them play. I enjoy gameplay at the same time. It's not mutually exclusive, but I'll tone it down. All right, you understand, but it's mutually exclusive for me. I don't care. You're coming to my place of business and you're talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the stream, and then other people start talking about it, and I look at my stream chat and it's like, now I have no idea what anyone's talking about. And now you have people here who are here for the game, and now they don't want to talk because now they're like, man, everyone's talking about sports. I don't want to be here. This is kind of boring. You see? It's not, I appreciate the tip. Thank you. Understand that this is not your stream. All right? And I accept your apology. So please, yes, do not talk about sports. When I say specifically, guys, please don't do that today. And then you do it. It doesn't even matter what it is. You're like, hey, guys, don't talk about cucumbers today. And if someone talks about a cucumber, you're directly doing it to piss me off. So please just don't do what I ask you not to do. It's a common courtesy when you walk into someone's place of business that you kind of respect their wishes. You know what I mean?
Self-censorship of disagreement with the apparent group consensus.
Eternal Napalm has tipped me $5. Says, you feel DSP gaming is better now that sneak dissers like Snow Carl have been taken down. Enjoy the tip. A precursor to Metroid Dread. Super pumped for that playthrough. I hope you're enjoying your evening. Thank you, Eternal. I hate to say it, but what ended up happening was, I think a lot of people who don't like me and or are trolls, as we've been talking about, realize there's no way that they could just come into this stream and troll. We have things in place between the sub-only mode, the moderators watching, the rules. You know what I'm saying? And they realize that. So what do? They'll come in here and pretend to be a fan of the content. They'll pretend to be positive. But then you find out on the back end, they were sitting in restreamers all the time making fun. They're literally regurgitating restreamer memes and things on this stream. And the thing is, I don't know that because I'm not watching the toxic stuff. I'm not watching the negative stuff from over there. So half the time, I don't even realize when someone's referencing something that may be something negative against me. And then I say it, and then everyone on that other stream laughs. Oh, he said it. We got him to say it. Oh, he fell for it again. Snowcrawl was infamous to this. He would all of a sudden, out of nowhere, try to ask me personal questions that he knew had nothing to do with the stream. I would be playing a game, he asked me a personal question, it's nothing to do with anything. It's like, why would you ask that out of nowhere? Because you're trying to get personal information because someone on a restream's talking about it. And it became more and more apparent over time that this is what his end goal was. And he was kind of the in guy. And by the way, before him, there were others that were like that. I'm not going to name names and stuff to cause more drama. It's been like this for a while, where they realize they can't just outright troll anymore. So instead, let's try to redirect Phil's streams towards something toxic, or towards something personal, or towards something that a detractor or restreamer is saying, so that they can all laugh, and Phil is none the wiser, right? We fooled the old man who streams, like it's some big fucking deal, right? But yeah, be honest, it's better, Eternal, absolutely. Have you noticed that in the last few weeks to months, since Snowcrawl's been gone, right? We don't get derailed constantly. We don't have these fucking drama topics coming up. All that stuff is taken care of, man.
A shared illusion of unanimity.
But of course, there'll be other things we'll do as well. And what I would like to say is let's begin the discussion, the dialogue around because at this point it's an inevitability. Like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the question is, how long will it take for me to get another 1,000 subscribers? It's probably going to take a while, okay? But once the new releases start to hit later on, this year, I feel like we're going to have enough interest that people will come to the channel, subscribe to see the new release playthroughs and whatever. And likely, maybe by the end of the year, we'll actually hit the 200K. and then we got to talk about how do we celebrate it. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in seeing how can we celebrate this cool milestone. So any other ideas, I'm open. I'm open to ideas of anything that you guys want to suggest that we could do to celebrate. Holy crap. Squirrel just gifted 50 memberships.
The emergence of self-appointed protectors of the group from adverse information that might undermine the existing complacency. Phil, you need to stop, Superhound. It's not funny. You are legally liable. I don't think you understand. You are legally liable. I wanted to do this as another video, but you are held legally liable because it's in your name. And you might be able to go, I don't know anything about it. Whoever it is out there, stop it. To your crowd of fans. You're not going to be able to do that to a judge. If it ever comes to it, you will be held legally liable for this shit. I don't think you quite understand how serious the situation is. So it really is in your best interest, putting all this to one side, putting my disagreements with you, like misusing a psychological concept because you're too thick to Google it, to one side. You do not understand the seriousness of the situation that Superhound is putting you in. And you need to do something about it. Not just sit there and look at the camera and say, stop it now. I don't know anything about it. You need to actually stop him. I don't know what the point of this was. I just wanted to sort of vent. Sort of compiling all the groupthink bits together. I'd been on my mind for a bit. I just sort of wanted to do it quickly. You know, like, hey, here's a compilation thing. Like Aquatil used to do. Go find all the clips of something and put them together. But sort of sitting through them all, watching him constantly misuse them as a cult-like groupthink mentality, a sick, twisted, and seeing that evolve as well, seeing his, like, because I haven't showed you, that's the point, I haven't shown you how he first encountered the word, I haven't shown you how he first encountered the term, because the compilation just then was of all the times that he said it, but the first time he saw it was in Watch Dogs.
Before asking for any personal data, hook them with the mask. Most people will recognize it. Tell them they'll each get one for participating. We need them to feel like part of a community before we start pushing them further. Groupthink is a powerful tool. Okay. One more to go, then we can figure out what the fuck's going on.
So that's the first sort of encounter that he has with it, according to Big Goat. That's the earliest result. And he doesn't know what that term means. You can see it in the way that he responds to it. He goes, groupthink, oh. And then sort of carries on. And he's like, let's go figure this out. And he doesn't sort of learn it. And he sort of puts it together. Because it sounds like group thinking. It does sound like a sort of form of conformity. And then the next time he hears it is in I think it's a super chat. Somebody uses it and sort of like compares detractors and Scientology.
Phil's blunt. Took me $1. You compare the cult of detractors to Scientologists. It seems like both groups engage in tons of groupthink and mob mentality. I don't know that much about Scientology. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 specials about it over the year. I saw one documentary about it on Netflix at one point. I don't know. I don't want to speak to it and not know what I'm talking about. But it's definitely a cultish mentality, which is hilarious because people used to say to me that remember DSP cult leader from a decade ago? Oh, Phil, all your fans are cult followers, man. And they like, no, my fans are people who actually watch my content and like what I do. That's why they watch. You know what I mean? It's not because of some insane indoctrination or crazy shit. It's because they actually like the content that I put up. Back then it was YouTube videos. Today it would be streams. They don't just watch insanely fabricated, controversial drama videos and just fall into this weird drinking the Kool-Aid mentality of believe everything. They're just nuts, those people. I don't get it, man. But no, my fans aren't like that.
And so after hearing it like that, I think the link is made in his mind that it is a form of conformity. He understands that. He understands that concept. And he can understand that this thing that is made of the words group and think might sort of mean that. It might be a different way of doing that. It might be like the academic way of doing it or the scientific way of saying it. You know, it might be a term from somewhere else, but he smushes it together in his head. And then that's it. He never checks Google. He doesn't understand that it's a process. It's not a state. It's not a sort of collective agreement. It's a constant pressure. It's a constant social act. It involves pressure from members of the group on others to keep to the core idea. And detractors will disagree about everything. You know, Alt Insider, Fantastic Mr. Sam, and Make Out Inc. What the fuck was that? I got a moth in here. It's been boiling all day, so I've left my window open. Better not. Anyway, yeah. That being said, trying to sort of like set up a podcast and I think a regular call-in show. I'm still listening to it at the moment, but it seemed to go pretty well. Alt Insider, well done, you know, props. For that sort of thing, because we like to talk shit. We like to talk about things, and we all have different ideas and opinions about stuff to do with Phil. Like I said, people argued that this wasn't Cat. People argued about that. There is no sort of like real sense of unanimity beyond Phil, you are a cunt. Personal opinion, not something that I can be held liable for in a court of law. So you have to look at Phil instead, because his is the group that is like under increased pressure to conform to a sense of unanimity. Trolls lose. Trolls are shaking their fists because they're angry. We win. Trolls never lose. You're the ones giving him money. We don't lose. But that ideological unanimity of, again, us versus them, stereotyping outsiders, stereotyping outgroups and saying don't listen to them, come here and conform to our beliefs instead. In detractor circles, you can freely talk about whatever. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want in DDM's chat. And most of the chats hosted by streamers, you can talk about whatever you want. It's rare that people get moderated unless you're, you know, one of the porn bots. But in Phil's chat...
Snow Carl, if you keep up with baloney, I'm just going to treat you like Oscar Mayer, and I'm going to send you off my stream to go make a sandwich. All right? I've had enough of your baloney. Stop it right now. This Saturday is a marathon special event. All right, if you're not aware. By the way, if you guys could stop talking bullshit in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Every time I look at the chat, it's idiots talking, oh, why does he need to ask the king? Oh, now it sounds like you're arguing with Phil. He's going to ban you. Shut up. Just shut up. You're fucking obnoxious, really. I'm trying to do a podcast, and I look down and everything in the chat is stupid. Just shut up if you're going to talk nonsense, okay? Hey, guys. How about this? Stop talking about contributions and super chats and shit. It's none of your business, especially those who didn't contribute either. So basically, here's what happened. So Big Meech did a really big super chat. So what happens? People who pretend to be fans, but instead they're dickhead trolls, say things like, super chats don't matter. Oh, you should have tipped. You should have done this. It's none of your business. So if I see one person saying it now, I'm just going to ban you outright. I don't care if you're a member or not, because I know you got gifted memberships anyway. You didn't fucking pay for them. So I see it. You're out. Gone. I'm not going to say another word about it. I'm not even going to say goodbye. I'm just going to ban and say nothing. Enough of this fucking bullshit. You see the point I'm making? At any point, they think they can do whatever they want. And by the way, Ross, please just stop talking now. He's, but the Twitch contract for the partnership is a unilateral agreement. They can terminate you at any time. Wrong. I don't care what the contract says. Wrong. Still in the shadows, if you say one more dumb thing in chat, I'm just going to ban you now. I've had enough. You're completely trying to derail the stream today. I don't know what's up with you. You need to shut up. Seriously. Lice Versal, I don't know about killing maidens in Elden Ring. I'm probably not even to that point yet, so you probably shouldn't even talk about it. Little Nicky, I don't have lifting tips for you. Stop talking about nonsense. Hey, guys, if you keep singling out another chatter, especially a chatter who's been very nice to everyone, supporting this channel and gifting, I'm just going to take you out and ban you. So if you keep talking shit, you're not going to be in here for much longer. I mean it. So you be wise the fuck up and stop trying to gang up on someone. B. Stevens, if you say one more word negative about my haircut, I'm just going to ban you. This guy's being a dick. Seriously. Every word out of his mouth is factually wrong, and he's just like saying dumb shit. Oh, your haircut's too short. Oh, your haircut's uneven. Oh, your haircut. All right, how about this? Fuck off. Everyone else here is like, oh, Phil's back. This is cool. And this idiot is sitting here talking about my haircut. Fuck off. You're a fucking idiot. All right, guys, I'm going to say it again. Please, stop addressing the trolls. Stop it. You know they're here. Ignore them. Between the matches, I ban them, right? Why are you talking about them? You're giving them the attention they want. Holy Warrior Tony, I'm just about to ban you right now. He just brings it. Dude, are you a fucking idiot? Stop bringing it up. If you ignore it, it goes away. If you keep talking about it constantly, it will not go away. You're being a jackass. God damn, man. You gotta use your fucking head. Fact or fiction, just shut up before I ban you. You're being stupid. Okay. Snowcrawl, did I not say to stop talking about that? Seriously. Did I not say to stop the bullshit and you're keeping up? Do you want to be banned? Anyway. People just don't know when to fucking stop.
If you are lucky, you will get leaned in by Phil himself. Although I do have to say, the person who's trolling him by just making 3 accounts with really obvious troll nicknames and then trolling like with messages repeatedly and then, you know, the messages disappear but the names remain, fucking perfect. Costs nothing, really gets under his skin. Fucking amazing trolling. But you get banned. You'll get banned so easily in Phil's chat because you've dared to stray away from the unanimity of the group consensus that is Phil is great, we should give him money. And trolls are trolls and losers and need to get out more and have no lives. And, you know, it bothers me because it's a psychological thing. It's a thing that I've studied at some point and he gets it wrong. And it's I think for me personally, it's worse than him misusing thus. Because he's fucking stupid with that as well. But this one gets under my skin a bit more. It's rarer, but it gets under my skin more. So, for me, it's worse than him saying thus. But yeah, so it bothers me. And it shouldn't bother me. Because, you know, you get mad at the internet, you get mad at Phil and that. But every now and then there's a little trigger. Every now and then everybody has a moment where they're like, oh, for fuck's sake, just fuck him. You know, and this is it for me. Because he didn't know. He didn't know. Rather than look it up and check, he just made up his own mind and assumed that was right. And nobody's ever corrected him since. Because the people who he listens to are just feeding him back what he wants to hear. So if he says groupthink in a certain context and then they say groupthink back to... What's the word for that?
This crazy, obsessive, compulsive, weird groupthink mentality that everything that they say is true just because they all say it.
Thanks, Phil. That, you know, just back and forth so it becomes true. I guess really this video is about projection because he's the one doing it. He's the one doing this. He's the one who's responsible for a sense of groupthink occurring in his chat, in his community. It is his doing that has led to this. And him getting it wrong just really does me nothing. That's it. That's... I know this is a short one, I'm sorry, I didn't really have a plan for it, I just wanted to vent. I wanted to just put the clips together at first and then seeing them made me a bit narked, so, you know. There's only so many times you can sit through Phil getting it wrong and sort of like... And I rolled smokes while I was doing it just so that I wasn't wasting time, they weren't really getting to me, and every time I was rolling one I was thinking, it'll be worth it for this when I smoke. For fuck's sake, he's done it wrong again. Then I'd have to go back to pick go for the next entry, and then go back to rolling while it's playing and go, for fuck's sake. Because, yeah, it's the psychology of it. It's a psychological theory. It has a definition. It means a certain thing. It's that. It's like percentile instead of percentage. Percentile means a thing. It doesn't mean percentage. It means a distinct and definite thing. Thus is not this. Thus means something different. And this is the one that just tops them all for me. So, yeah. I suppose I should probably say, like, it's been a bit shit for me recently. You probably noticed that this isn't a Down the Rabbit Hole video, or a John and Howard one. Although I did do the podcast, I did do the That Being Said, episode 3. So, some broad thoughts there if you're that interested for now. But don't use my show as, like, representative. The one I was on was, like, right after the Rambo and Howard stream, so it was a one-off. Ones with like Piece of Peace and Ex Mortis and Shinko are better. They're more representative of what like the podcast is. Mine was like a one-off discussion because of what had happened previously. So yeah, but still, there's my thoughts. And it's for me, it's been a bit difficult because my cat's been sick. I don't mean thrown her. I mean she's like actually sick. Her thyroid levels are high again. So she's on new medication. and she lost a lot of weight and she's quite ill. Took her to the vets and they were like, your cat's this ill. And you go in knowing that she is ill, but when they say like, no, she's actually this ill, sort of hits you, and then you've got to wait a few days for the blood test results to come back. And she's currently got like a missing patch of fur here where they've had to shave her to take blood samples from. Hey everyone, quick update from the future. It's been about 5 or 6 weeks now. Had another blood test. Results came back very, very, I don't say positive, obviously, but they came back very, very encouraging. She put on weight. This is currently killing me. She's going to the toilet less, but she is weeing more in volume. So these are things that are like generally good signs when your cat's got thyroid. She's thyroid problems, hyperthyroidism. She's pooing less often. No, you all need to know this, but the thyroid levels in the blood are looking a bit better now. So the vet's very optimistic that she'll be okay. We're going to carry on for the same dose that we've been on for another 3 months, and then we'll have another test. You want to get down now, don't you? Can see the tail going. Look, I'll make it worth your while, okay? Good girl. Good girl. The catnip flavour dreamies. Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking I could turn the camera down, so that you can see her. And then I thought it'd be a really good idea if I left my phone out here and left something on it. But he didn't. That was really clever of me, wasn't it? That would have been great. Oh, you slipping off? You okay? Yeah. You got some under your feet as well. Stop knocking them off. So yeah, for anyone who cares about the well-being of my cat, she's doing better. She's improving. I need to do this right. Okay, I'm perfectly framed now. Yeah, she's doing good. She's doing much better. Fingers crossed, everything improves. The content of that video was quite close to when she first went, so only been 2 or 3 days after, I think, and so I was still a bit miserable about it. Oh, I fucking moved it again. There we go. So yeah, I thought I can't in good conscience put this video out and not sort of update. So I waited for her most recent test results to come back in, and they're positive. The vet's positive. He's very optimistic. So fingers crossed. So yeah, there you go. So update for the cat. So I was thinking about DSP's general reluctance to change his mind whenever somebody's pointed out something that he's wrong about, but he's already made his mind up. And I am broadly thinking of all the groupthink stuff. He's come up with a definition of a word that he doesn't know, and he's made up his mind. That's how he'll use it from then on. But it applies everywhere. Recently, all the PC talk, people have said, Phil, you don't need to spend this much. Here's how you could make a build differently. You don't need to buy that graphics card. All you need to do is buy this to fix your old one and all that stuff. And every time somebody's said something that has corrected something that he believes, he's gone, you're an idiot, fuck off. So he doesn't like the idea that he's wrong about something, and he doesn't like the idea that he has to change his mind or correct a definition. So I think it's because obviously it's going to be related to memory, because you're going to be recalling things when you are planning. For example, when he's planning out the PC, he's got his build already mapped out. He knows what he wants in it. So whenever somebody asks what do you want the PC to do, he's remembering all that stuff. And whenever he's struggling to find a word to describe a feeling or an emotion or a phenomenon, he's going to recall that word. So memory is obviously very involved here. Memory is something that's very interesting. There's psychologists are very interested in, because in a lot of ways memory defines us. We're the people we are because of the things we remember from the experiences we've had. So memory is quite important, and as a result there's many different models of memory and thinking and recall and encoding that are proposed to describe different methods of thinking, like the definition of something. Recalling the definition of a word when you need to use it in a sentence is different from episodic memory, which is things involved in episodes of your life, things related to it. So say, you witnessed a car crash, you were involved in a car crash, or you went to a concert. When recalling that event, you would recall things related to it as well. You would recall, say, where you were traveling from and to when the crash happened. You might recall what was on the radio in your car when the crash happened. You will remember the weather and the time of day. You remember what you were wearing. If you go to the concert, you'll remember stuff like what you did beforehand, what clothes you were wearing, because if you're going to see a band, you've probably got a particular shirt of theirs, and you might remember what you did before the concert while you're waiting for the support act to hurry up and sod off. I'd sit through fucking Funeral for a Friend. Ugh. I used to see Iron Maiden, but still. Fucking ugh. So episodic memory is different than like linear recall of words, and the processing of numbers, and recalling dates and birthdays and phone numbers and things like that. So there's many different methods of thinking, and with stuff like DSP not remembering a definition or not correcting it, this is because when the brain makes a link, it tries to store that link. So in this case, when he's given a word groupthink, it makes a definition. He can't find a definition because he's not reading it in a dictionary, so he'll try to sort of like fudge one out of the word, and he'll see group and he'll see think, and he'll put them two together and think that must be what it means. It must mean when a group thinks the same. And so that's it. That's the definition in his head. And the more you recall something, the better and more efficient the brain becomes at racing through that neural pathway to recall that information, because it's being recalled a lot, so the brain gets better and better at going and fetching it when it needs to. So it becomes more and more embedded in the brain, and it's harder and harder to stop it and to form a new mental shortcut to something else. When, for example, you would learn the correct definition, you will have this period of readjustment where you're still recalling the old definition first, and then you're remembering, oh no, wait, that's wrong, I've said it wrong, or I've used it wrong, or that's not what it means. And gradually you will get used to using the new definition, but there's a period of adjustment while your brain's sort of like rewiring this shortcut. But Phil don't want to go through that because it's cognitive effort. So, he'd rather just tell you that you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about, and you should shut up and or fuck off. Like when building a PC, for example, it feels to me like part of it feels like his lack of curiosity, because when I see a word I don't know, I like to go and find out what that word means. And not knowing something and trying to sort of fudge it together from I'd do it in a pinch, but I would have the asterisk next to it indicating you don't necessarily know what this means. This might be wrong, and then I'd later go and check to make sure I'd used it right, because it would be the sort of thing that would sit in the back of my head and cause me a bit of an annoyance and anxiety. So I wouldn't want it on the record that I'd used a word incorrectly. So, it's bad enough there's a couple of mistakes in earlier videos, and I feel like really like, oh fuck, I can't believe I said that, I can't believe I didn't check that first, and all this stuff. So, I'm that sort of person, but it with Phil, it feels more like that. It's just, I can't be arsed. I feel like the effort of correcting himself when being corrected. I want to buy this PC for this much. Well, actually, Phil, you can get it for this much. I literally build PCs for my living. I work for like an electronic retailer, or, a PC department or something like that. I literally work with computers. I'm an IT tech. I build computers, and I'm telling you that you can get a better machine, or you can like fix your machine for much less. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. Fuck off. You're a fucking idiot. any sort of, you know, anything, any insult that Phil would like to throw your way, he probably will, because that's better than going, oh, I'm wrong. And again, admitting you're wrong is difficult too. For most of us, admitting that you're wrong and that you know an existing a pre-existing belief is incorrect is difficult. Not only because you've got to rewire that mental shortcut in your head, but you've also got to sort of not necessarily rebuild yourself, but you've got to like come to terms with the fact that you've been wrong, and nobody likes to do that. Nobody likes admitting that they're wrong. So it's difficult for us at the best of times. But Phil's there and he just doesn't give a fuck. And he has the luxury of being able to lean in and ban you. So I should start leaning that way. It's that way, innit? He leans this way. But yeah, I've got more room this way. So yeah, I feel like with Phil, once the sort of memory pathway is embedded, he's not willing to expend the effort of rewiring it. And he's also not willing to just accept that he was wrong. He can't admit that he was wrong about certain things, especially at this point when he's been using it the way he thinks is correctly for 2 years, maybe 3 years now. You know, he would if you told him, Phil, this is what groupthink actually means, he probably wouldn't believe you. He'd probably tell you you were wrong and you didn't know what you were talking about, and that it actually meant when a group all thinks the same, because the word is groupthink and it's right there in the word, you dumbass. He wouldn't understand that, like, I mean, I gave you the literal definition from the man who came up with the term. It is a process. It is a mode of thinking. It is a continuously happening thing as a result of social pressures within an in-group that, you know, that needs conformity and cohesion more than anything else. That's why it annoys me, because he uses it wrong so much. Because detractors just don't do that. We don't. I've been over this after, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to add that little extra bit after telling you all that my cat's doing okay. I might throw in some random edits at the end just to pad things out. Because this one isn't actually that long comparatively. I don't know, I'm going to get a bunch of comments going, oh my god, it's only like an hour and a half. Steve, you okay? What the fuck's going on? Is this a YouTube short? So yeah, I mean, you know, if it was a stream, it wouldn't be that bad. It's because it's being presented as a video. If I was streaming for 7 hours, it's not that unusual, you know. Tevin streams for 7 hours. Anli streamed for 7 hours. Pretty sure Peace streams for 7 hours. You know, at times they have done, not regularly, but at times they have done. So I feel like it's not that weird. But I am aware of it that you know, I do get some criticism, I know. So I'm going to try and work on shorter stuff. Brevity is the soul of absolutely nothing. Talk for hours. Fill every second that you can with some form of information so that you can overload your viewers' brains, and then throw a picture or video of your cat up so that they'll be like, oh my god, Steve, you're amazing. By the way, this is my favourite picture of the cat. I have it here. It's stuck on my door. I love this picture. I think it's a great picture. So, yeah. Stick on there. So yeah, I don't know what the point of this little coda was. Just wanted to add that little bit about like memory and recall at the end. Because I was thinking while I was editing, I thought, if you told him he was wrong, how would he react and why? You know, and obviously his ego wouldn't take the insult and the implication that he was wrong. His brain won't want to do the work, and it is just much easier to tell you to fuck off than it is to accept that you're wrong. So yeah, that's my sort of read on every time he does that. Not just with words and with groupthink as well, but obviously like with stuff like PC building. Yeah, telling him, hey Phil, this is actually how the game controls. You're a massive Sonic fan and you love Sonic too, and you needed to be told to jump in the special stages.
So I like Sonic 2 so much that back in the day I played the hell out of it, and I absolutely have gotten all the gems and gone supersonic in this game before. That was close. Wow, we definitely didn't do it. Tails got hit a million times. This seems harder. It actually seems harder to me. Try again. This seems way harder to me than the original. I don't know if they updated it or something. This is only the third one, and it seems pretty challenging to me. I don't remember them being this hard back in the day. How am I supposed to win when Tails keeps getting hit? I think, if I remember correctly, there was a way to play the game without Tails, and if you were trying to get the emeralds, you would turn it off so Tails is not in the game, because he's the one who keeps getting hit and losing your rings. You gotta do it perfect. You can't get hit once. If you get hit once, you can't even beat it. Wow. And this is only stage 3. Now, they changed it. They definitely changed it. It wasn't this hard. There's no way it was this hard. The third stage being this hard? No way. No fucking way. I was pressing left. You didn't move. Weird. Wow. That was a little messy. Wow. Oh, what? I was on the wall and he walked down the wall. That sucked. It sucks because there is this mechanic where when you're on the wall, you will slightly start to lose your elevation on the wall and you'll miscalculate where to keep Sonic and you'll accidentally hit a bomb around a corner. Expand Dong says, did you see the Sonic creator, Yuji Naka? I used to be able to go between those perfectly. Now I can't do it at all. Wow. Wow, there's definite sluggishness to the controls. There's a lot of sluggishness to the controls. Yeah, look. There actually is delay. I'm just noticing it now. Alright, get 40 rings. This will be fun. Wow, it's full 60 frames? It didn't used to be. They improved it. This is really awesome. I like the improvement here. Super smooth 60. Wow, I love this. It's so smooth at 60 frames. I'm just noticing there's sluggishness because I remember on the Genesis, I used to be able to weave between the bombs in that part easily. In the original Sonic 2, this was not 60 frames. This would actually chop up and go down to like 20, 30 frames. Now I'm trying to do it and he's like very slow to react when I'm pushing the D-pad. Yeah, look, there's delay. Wow. See? Because you have to just constantly be weaving back and forth like this, grabbing them between the bombs. You have to be perfectly between the bombs. Pretty crazy. Okay. Oh, this is going to take a while. Nice. Wow, cool. Okay, thank you guys for telling me that. People in chat said try jumping. That was really useful.
So yeah, anyway. So I've felt shit and I've not really wanted to deal with DSP. I also want to start doing stuff that's not DSP as well. But I will be getting to down the rabbit hole stuff. I do know how I'm going to approach that. I have been doing work. It just might take a while. So, you know, forgive us for like not getting out straight away and other stuff going on in this not being, you know, 2 hours long or 3 hours. Just, I think it's that. I think it's like the expectation that they have to be long sort of weighs on me because I've dug my own grave here. There's always more I want to put in, and when I start thinking about doing that, I think, oh, fuck, it's too much. And that's on me, really. It's up to me to properly manage my work. So, for work, fuck, I need a drink. But yeah, I will be putting other videos out. I will be going back to down the rabbit hole as well. I know I'm going to do it, so it will be coming, but I just, you know, if DSP videos don't come out for a while, it's me, like, keeping an eye on my cat. She's only been on the medication for a few days, so I'm still, you know, feeling a bit shit about it. It's difficult when a delusion gets broken. So, yeah. So it might be a while, and other things might come up. I've got another Why We Still Talk About written. I'm gonna film that, and I'm gonna do some like essays on a couple of video games because my brother sort of mentioned it, and I thought, yeah, all right then. And there's one game in particular that I don't think anyone will guess, that I really want to do a video about, because it's something that I played when I was younger and it's really stayed with me, and I've got it through GOG, so yeah, that might be coming up. But yeah, thanks for sort of briefly tolerating the barrage of DSP saying groupthink incorrectly and me just sort of rambling. I just wanted to say that. It's finally gotten to me. You know, if you know me by now, you'll know that this has been a particular bugbear for me. So, yeah, finally had a bit of catharsis and got it out. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I might put in a clip of the cat being a bit better, just to, you know, just to end things on. So, see you later.
When I think about that, I think about why is there a group of people in our country who actually think that African Americans are to be feared and treated differently, and why is it that African Americans have to walk the streets in fear that if a cop pulls them over at any moment they could be beaten, or they could be arrested unfairly, treated unfairly, or in the case of George Floyd, absolutely murdered for no reason, right? I think it's because of these fucking stupid shit that we say. It's because we're irresponsible. It's because we're dumb, and we think that life's a joke, and that we could just pass around these really hurtful stereotypes. Look out, there's a black woman coming. Ah! She takes them both out. Boom! Steals the backpack and runs away. First of all, I 100% agree that rape is not something to be joked about. And back then, 10 years ago, I was super immature about it because I came from the fighting game community. To the shower. Oh my God, he dropped the soap. People would actually say that as an acceptable term in the fighting game community. It's not. Now I understand that, because in the last 10 years, I've become a much more mature and wise individual. I've educated myself on the subject. Oh, great, the showers. Enter the obligatory don't drop the soap joke.
Okay, so I don't know if you quite picked up on this, but in that last bit where Phil is talking about being in the FGC, there's the sort of roundabout admission that it took Phil until the age of 38 to realise that rape isn't funny. And you know, now that I've said that out loud, I just... Fucking hell, Phil. Fucking... This was on your... This is on your... I'm sorry, and I've changed stream. This is supposed to be like your defense. You're sort of like, hey, I'm actually not that bad a person. Right, I can't end the video on this. But I'll add that to the list. And we'll come back to it at some point.
Whoa, what is this? This is the true identity of Kazuto Jumonji. Huh? I'm not sure I understand. All the works of Kazuto Jumonji are written by 10 of us. Oh, they're a groupthink initiative. I've heard of this before. That basically a company or... By the way, my nose is itching really badly. So I'm going to blow my nose quickly because my allergies are acting up today. I took an allergy medication, but it hasn't kicked in yet. Oh.
Quick question for you guys. How long, on average, does allergy medication take to kick in? It's a genuine question. Because if he took it first thing this morning, like he claims he does sometimes, isn't that kind of shit only like 30 minutes usually to take effect? Does it actually take a few hours to kick in, Stevie did? My thinking was it takes like 30 minutes for it to kick in. Most people are saying 30 minutes. Steve Dead, you're saying few hours. It has to reach your stomach and be digested. Steve Dead's the only contrary answer so far, but he's also got the smartest answer. And it's one of those things that I was trying to guesstimate. But the fact of the matter is, if he was awake at 9 AM though, this is what... It's almost 12 PM now, and Phil claims he's up like 9 or something, or sometimes 10 every day. Surely should be kicking in by now. Steve is not a troll. Steve is a troll. No, don't call Steve a troll. You'll set him off about 40 minutes of explaining why he's not.
Alright, no, wait. My point is that the thing with drugs is that you have to consider one of the most important factors in how addictive something is the method of delivery, because the method of delivery is what affects the speed of the action of the drug being taken. It's felt. It affects how long it takes to get to your brain and start making you feel good. So stuff that's injected into your veins is usually very, very addictive because it is immediately in your bloodstream. It's immediately on its way to your brain, you know. Whereas something that you inhale, like a spliff, it takes a while because it has to get through your lungs first and then get around through your bloodstream into your brain. But still, that's quite quick. It's not as fast as injected, but it's still quite quick compared to ingesting something when, say, a certain type of cake that might or might not have a psychoactive compound in it. That has to go through your system. It has to go through your digestive system, hit your stomach, then be digested, broken down. And then it has to be passed into your colon before it's starting to be absorbed by your bloodstream. It has to go through your large and small intestines before, you know, it's all fully out. So that could take a lot longer. And with Phil, in this case, I'm considering that he's taking, you know, like antihistamines. So he'll have taken them in tablet form. So he will have, you know, assuming that he has, he'll have taken them in tablet form and he'll have swallowed it. And then, even if he takes medicine, though, either way, he's swallowing it. It's going through his digestive system and it's hitting his stomach. And there's a period of time that he has to wait before it starts to work. That's normally about half an hour to get to your stomach, and then around about 2 hours, depending on how much you've eaten and how much you've previously eaten, you know, how long it's been, to sort of move on through your stomach into your lower intestines and your large intestines and your small intestines. Not lower and higher, is it? It's because of that line in Red Dwarf where Crichton goes, you know, your lower intestines, because he has a really weird pronunciation of it.
It would certainly survive long enough to make balloon animals out of your lower intestines.
But anyway, yeah. That sort of thing is what I was thinking when I said it would take that long. I wasn't trolling. I was genuinely trying to suggest that because Phil has had to consume it, it's going to take a bit longer. When I take my meds, for example, it's normally about an hour to 2 hours before I can feel them. This is something that I'm really aware of when I've slept past my the time that I'm supposed to take them, and I wake up a couple of hours later feeling like shit because I'm feeling the withdrawal of them. So I need to take them, and then there's a period of time where I'll feel shit because the tablets are going through my digestive system. So, you know, depending on your specific, you know, physical dimensions, I guess, depending on your digestive, required surgical intervention and a team of doctors to fully remove it. But anyway, the point I'm making is that Phil's addiction to WWE Champions is the worst because it doesn't have a traditional sort of mode of consumption. It's basically just the moment you tap that screen and you see the thing flash, you get the dopamine hit in your reward pathways because they're firing, because obviously it's a repeated behavior that you know is going to give you a dopamine hit. It's constantly in this feedback loop of press and tap, and oh my god, it feels good. Press and tap, oh my god, it feels good. And that's often much, much quicker than having to go through the effort of tying your arm off and waiting for a vein to come up and then boiling it in the spoon and throwing that into the needle. Because it's just there, it's right on your phone, it's there. And obviously Phil's major addiction is spending money. We've seen this before in his house tours when he's shown us all the shit that he has. And WWE Champions is just like the main facilitator of that now. It's easy for him to spend money to get a new star, a new sort of gold card, a new reward, a new thing to put in his profile that makes it easier for him to win 99.4% of all the matches that he does. And so that's the issue that Phil has. He's going to have to withdraw himself from that in order to be able to break this sort of feedback loop of, if I just have a couple of taps, I get a nice feeling in my head. but that nice feeling comes at a cost, obviously, and the cost is something like 40 grand a year.
Well, you
So
can never rule that out either.
that was my issue.
So if it was
And,
his mum,
imagine how much it's going to cost to get all that off the ceiling. You're going to need hazmat suits. You're going to need power washers. You're probably going to need like a course of therapy for all the cleaners involved, because they're probably going to come out of it with some PTSD. They are going to see some shit once they go in to clean that up. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of like explain myself and sort of like say, you know, well, I wasn't trying to troll your chat. Here's my sort of logic behind my initial statement of it will probably take a couple of hours, because I'm assuming that Phil's digestive system is not great given his diet. I mean, you know, I can't imagine that alcohol is fantastic for, you know, keeping everything running smoothly down there. Plus, his main addiction is normally fed through Champions, because it's more immediate rather than having the delay of having to go through your digestive system or even go through your veins straight into your bloodstream. It's a couple of taps. It's just like tap, tap, poof, tap, tap, poof, tap, tap, poof. All this dopamine going off, your reward pathways firing, because this thing, you know, gives you a nice, fun, a nice, pleasurable feeling in like the back of your head. And it's fun, and it makes you feel good when you get a rare card. It makes you feel good when you see a number go up on your profile. It makes you feel good to see it explode open and go just like, you know, that time you left the camera on. But anyway, sorry about that, Kingjad. Everybody, you should check out Kingjad's like DSP bingo. It's quite a lot of fun, and you know, I do have a bit of thing for bingo because me and Anne used to play bingo. So, like, occasionally come home with, like, an alarm clock or something. Like, do you want this? I won it at bingo. They give away shitty prizes. Great. But yeah, the bingo's great fun. It's surprisingly tense when you're getting closer to a full house. It's very, very like, you're like, come on, say what the fuck are you talking about, you twat. Come on, say it. It's great fun. You should highly recommend it. Go check them out. Yeah, and thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, have I bothered you now? Yeah.
You in the bath again? Yeah. Well, at least you're cleaning yourself in it. That's what it's for. Yeah. You are wet, aren't you? It's been raining and you were outside. Oh, good girl. Say goodbye to everyone.